A potential tax hike could help teachers. The DEA does what it can to prevent drug abuse, and the Department of Health continues to make cuts. This is OU Nightly. The Republican-controlled Oklahoma Senate is attempting to fix a $215 million budget hole. One solution involves possibly doubling the current production tax on oil and gas wells.
So that's right. So GOP senators approved a resolution urging House members to push a package of tax hikes. This would include a 4% tax rate on all new oil and gas wells. This solution will not only go towards fixing the budget hole, but will also prevent massive cuts to mental health services and give Oklahoma teachers a $3,000 raise.
Keeping with budget cuts, if a solution isn't found, the Oklahoma Department of Human Services submitted a new budget following the projected loss of $69 million from the agency's operating budget. Going into effect December 1st, the Advantage Waiver Program will lose over $36 million, and many will need nursing home replacements. The Older Americans Act will cut nearly $2 million on December 1st, meaning some meal sites will close and 1/3 of seniors may lose services. And among other things, the child care subsidy will lose $3 million, and a result, about 700 children will lose subsidies. While the state of Oklahoma continues to search for solutions to the $215 million budget hole, the Oklahoma Department of Health is having money problems of its own. Will Cornelius is now joining us in health news with more.
That's right, Colin. The Department of Health plans to lay off 250 employees early next year due to a funding shortfall at the agency. The department spokesman Tony Sellers says they are not entirely sure how this occurred, but that it is not related to the statewide budget cuts. Back in September, the OSDH requested a special audit to address budget and cash shortfalls. Most layoffs will happen at county health departments, but a final decision on which positions will be cut has not yet been made. And President Trump today declared a national health emergency to combat the opioid crisis. The declaration will allow federal agencies greater resources to combat the issues facing the opioid crisis currently. And now for an update on the flu season here in Oklahoma. There have been 5 new flu-related hospitalizations in Oklahoma this week, bringing the total number of hospitalizations to 31. And immunization experts who advise the CDC have approved a new shingles vaccine for people ages 50 years and older. The new drug, called Shingrix, was recommended by the advisory board on Wednesday. The committee says it prefers the new drug to the current standard, Zostavax. The new vaccine was approved by the FDA last Friday. It is estimated that 1 in 3 Americans will develop shingles in their lifetime. And Colin and JC, I don't know if you heard, but John Mayer actually just celebrated a year of sobriety.
Oh, wow. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, he does still partake with marijuana from time to time, but where it is allowed, I assume he's out in
Yeah, as long as it's legal and he's having fun, that's pretty
As long as he's happy, not going to say anything about it.
Well, hey, thanks, Will.
Thanks.
The Drug Enforcement Administration is taking a unique approach to prevent pill abuse. This Saturday, for the 14th time in 7 years, the DEA will allow people to get rid of expired and unwanted, unused prescription drugs. The drop-off time will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The OKC area's drop-off locations can be found at the Oklahoma County Sheriff's offices. The DEA hopes this action will address a serious public safety and health issue.
It's great to see Oklahoma doing something about that possible
Absolutely.
problem. But the greatest thing, I think, right now is the weather, right?
Yeah,
been
it's starting
so
to cool
nice.
off, but we're all wondering, is there snow coming? Jordan, where is it at?
That's right. So where is the snow right now? Well, it's in Colorado. You have to go all the way to northeastern Colorado, near Sterling, Colorado. That's where the snow is as the cold air moves in. That's part of our system coming in. Cold front has moved through right now. In fact, right now, it's moving through Norman. Our winds are starting to shift. But the main area of cold air is still just off to our north. So it's moving in our direction. And where's the cold air? 30 degrees, 40 degrees. There it is. Lots of cold air coming. We've got a freeze on the way. We've also got a game day coming up. All the details on that coming up. But for now, back to you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jordan. So the U.S. Senate confirmed Scott Polk's nomination for federal judge. He will serve the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Oklahoma. President Trump nominated Polk in May, but Polk was also nominated in 2015 by Barack Obama. Polk is the Assistant Dean of Students at the OU College of Law, and he has 19 years of experience as a prosecutor in both the federal and state levels.
The United States government is set to release the last of the John F. Kennedy assassination files today. President Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963. The complete investigation files were never released. In 1992, President George H.W. Bush signed the Collections Act, which called for the public release of all records within 25 years unless it was harmful to the military defense, intelligence operations, law enforcement, or foreign relations. President Trump said he would not block the release. It's not clear what specific information has been withheld, but historians hope to get a better understanding of what happened leading up to that fateful day in Dallas. The National Archives will post the final 3,000 files on its website.
So the presidential election may be over, but questions of corruption are still being talked about. Luke Hall joins us in the News Center with more. Luke.
That's right, JC. A law firm that worked for the Hillary Clinton campaign has disclosed that the Democratic National Convention and Hillary Clinton's campaign paid for opposition research on then candidate Donald Trump. Both Clinton's campaign manager and the former Democratic National Convention chairwoman denied having any knowledge about paying for opposing information. Republicans are now trying to subpoena financial reports to learn exactly who paid for the research.
The nays are 212. The motion is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Passed the federal budget resolution today by slim margins. The final vote count was 216 to 212 and now moves to President Trump's desk for the review of the resolution rules. The president is not reviewing the budget, only the rules of the resolution, which now will allow the Senate to pass tax reform with only a simple majority rather than the usual 60%. And two teenagers plotted to attack their high school in Georgia. They're now facing charges of attempted murder and making terroristic threats. Campus police were informed of a potential threat on Wednesday after someone reported suspicious activity. County sheriffs searched the two teens' homes and report finding a detailed diary that outlined alleged threats to the school and specific staff members and students.
We don't want anything to happen to the students in our county, to our community, and we'll do everything that we can to protect them.
Although the students are 17, they will both be tried as adults. And JC, the UN is now blaming the Syrian government for an attack on April 4th that used the nerve gas sarin to kill over 90 people.
Thank you, Luke. So a jury will begin deliberations in the murder trial of a former Noble daycare owner. In July of 2016, police charged Melissa Clark with the murder of 4-month-old Braylon Zachary. Prosecutors say Zachary was shaken to death. Clark pleaded not guilty, saying she accidentally dropped the baby. If convicted, she faces up to life in prison.
Still ahead on OU Nightly, we conclude our coverage of the SGA presidential candidates.
And a former Sooner star is building a new legacy. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Today we conclude our coverage of the SGA presidential candidates. Vanessa Mraz is running alongside VP candidate Jake Mazadis. We asked Mraz about her campaign platform and about the future challenges facing SGA.
Something that's very important to us is to come to the OU student body rather than expecting them to come to us. And we intend to do that should we get elected in a variety of ways. One is having satellite office hours. Rather than expecting students to come to us in the Conoco, we will have office hours around campus in areas such as Gaylord here or Dale or Kate or the Biz, places where students are. We want to come to students so that they can voice their concerns to us all throughout the year should we get elected. That's something that's incredibly important to us, and it's something we intend to fix should we get elected. First semester of our freshman year. But experience isn't just important because of the knowledge that we've gained throughout these years, but rather it's important because of the relationships and the trust that we've been able to build throughout our time in SGA. We know what works and what doesn't. We have seen 3 different presidential administrations go by, and we've seen the merits of each, and we've seen what doesn't work within each, and we can take that in order to continue to thrive, to continue to expand the student government to every student on this campus, and give the fruits of SGA to every student on this campus.
The election is next week on Tuesday, and Wednesday we will have the results 1 week from today.
Journalism Under Siege continued its series of panels last night inside the Gaylord Hall Auditorium. Among other things, journalists being kidnapped and held hostage was discussed in length, especially from Diane Foley, the mother of James Foley, who was kidnapped and murdered in 2014. Diane was adamant about the importance of young journalists and the steps they should take for better safety when covering foreign affairs.
We need courageous, talented journalists out in the world. There's no question about that. Two of the basic areas that have come out have been this area of importance of digital security and the ability to be very good at risk assessment.
Noted the importance of having a file of accounts and passwords for family members and loved ones.
Former Sooner All-American Ryan Broyles is back in Norman, ready to take on a new venture, one he never dreamed of happening. OU Nightly's Carson Williams has more on what the owners hope will be the newest place to eat and drink on Campus Corner.
This was Ryan Broyles 5 years ago, in the NFL and making millions. His playing days are over now, and another chapter in his life is just now beginning. As a real estate investor, his latest project brings him back to his hometown where he is a co-owner of the newest bar and restaurant on Campus Corner, The Porch.
This opportunity presented itself through a broker of mine that was looking for other investors on campus. He said, hey, this might not be in your wheelhouse, but it's worth a look. And so I looked over the business plan. It's right here on Boyd Street. Can't get a better view than this. So things looked well, it looked awesome, I mean. So just excited to be a part of the opportunity, share the experience, and be back in Norman, like you said.
All this was set up by Broyles' financial plan he established during his time in the NFL. He signed a multi-million-dollar contract during his rookie year, but was living on a $60,000 budget.
Me and my wife living life as if we were still in college. You know, I live down the street on Jenkins. Just try to be good stewards of our money and our opportunities, and then obviously it leads to opportunities like this to invest on Campus Corner in my hometown.
The Porch is still in the construction phase, and there have been a few speed bumps along the way, but marketing coordinator Joey Bess still has high hopes for the new restaurant.
Our primary goal is just to kind of become one with the community here, and then ultimately have students here on campus think of the Porch as the go-to place, and it be their #1 memory for college.
The Porch will offer a plethora of different craft sandwiches, nachos, and a wide variety of drinks. Whether it's a buzzing game day or a quiet Tuesday on campus, Broyles and Buss expect the Porch to be a good experience for all. Carson Williams, OU Nightly.
Because of a few delays in construction, there is not yet a target date for completion.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, cold weather is starting to settle in around here. Jordan?
That's right, we've got cold weather coming in. We've even got a freeze. I'll let you know when, after the break. Outside right now, and we see no clouds in the sky, sitting at temperature 78 degrees, but notice our winds coming from the west. That because our cold front is on the way. That's bringing us a huge blast of Arctic air. So where is it right now? There's the cold front, there's the Arctic air. We've got snow and rain along it. No snow and rain for us, though. We will remain dry for the rest of this week and also for this weekend. But the big story is the cold air sitting at 32 degrees. See all this cold air? Guess where it's coming? Right at us. Coming to the southeast and moving through tonight. Our temperatures are going to be dropping into the 30s by the time we get to tomorrow morning. You might think, well, we're sitting in the 70s right now. That's a lot of cold air. It is, and it's coming in our direction very fast. It's going to be sweeping across northwest winds, gust up to 30 to 40, maybe even 50 miles an hour overnight tonight once that cold air really starts to settle in. Then look at tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock, only 49 degrees here in Norman. That's much cooler than what we've seen today. It's 30 degrees different. You're going to need the coat all day tomorrow because it is going to be cold, sitting in the 40s, 46 and 37 degrees in Kansas City. But then that's when it really starts to settle in. Saturday morning, first freeze of the season. This model has 31 degrees. I have 28 degrees for our low on Saturday morning here in Norman. That's a hard freeze that we will see across the entire state on Saturday morning. And we're not going to warm up much. We're only going to get into the 50s. And for game time tomorrow, look at this. Only 48 degrees here in Norman for game time tomorrow. And for all the homecoming activities, it will be cool for all of the day and cold. You will need the coat. Now Sunday, it looks like relief is coming. All right, we're back into 68 degrees. But notice to our north, another cold front. That cold front comes through Monday and drops us back into the 50s for Tuesday. In fact, no 70s on my 7-day right now. Highest we get to is 69 degrees, which is next Thursday. So game day forecast, going to need to coat. Bundle up. 40s throughout the game. Northwest winds right around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Wind chills will be in the upper 30s. And once you leave the game late that night, we'll see wind chills in the mid 30s. So you're going to need to bundle up and get ready for the cold air. So lows tonight, check this out. 39 degrees in Norman, 32 degrees in Woodward. So the freeze starts up in northwest Oklahoma tonight. For tomorrow, again, like I said, it's just going to be windy and cold. 44 degrees at noon, only 49 degrees at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Now, here's the highs across the state. Only 52 degrees in Ardmore, 56 in Idabel, and notice 49 degrees in Norman. So it is going to remain cold all of tomorrow. Then Saturday morning, so you can see the snowmans are enjoying it. First freeze of the season for Norman, 28 degrees in Norman, 29 degrees in Oklahoma City, and 29 degrees in Tulsa. That's a hard freeze for Norman. And then we also have an even harder freeze, so to say, 21 degrees in Guyman. It's going to be cold. Now, so here's the forecast, 7-day forecast. Hello to the cold air. Moving in right now, going to be moving in overnight. Really settles in for Saturday. Cold and more cold for Saturday. We'll continue to see 52 degrees for the high on Saturday, and then we extend the forecast out. Notice we only get to 68 degrees on Sunday. Monday, we get to 62, but the cold front moves in for Tuesday. There's a very slight chance for rain. Could see some passing showers, but right now we'll drop back into the 50s. So cold air is here, no 70s.
Well, I'm a fan of the cold weather, but thank you, Jordan.
Yep.
It'd be nice if we could have some snow.
Right.
But no.
All right, Shiloh, people that say baseball is not entertaining. We're definitely proven wrong last night.
They were, Colin, but what else could you expect from the World Series? And Jordan Thomas showed up and showed out. I've got more for you when we come back. Sports is straight ahead. After a heart-racing game last week, the Sooners are firing up for the game this Saturday against Texas Tech. One guy in particular is fired up, Jordan Thomas. He struggled earlier in the season, but boy, did he come to play last Saturday. He had a beautiful interception that was crucial for the Sooners, and the Red Raiders might just feel his heat come Saturday.
It was a great feeling for me just getting back into it, because I feel like, you know, once you get one of those, it's like they just kind of fall into your hands after that, or even if it's just a confidence thing or just a swagger thing, you know, you just kind of play more loose and you just kind of get more balls thrown at you. Or not necessarily thrown at you, but you just get your hands on more of them.
One thing Sooners fans love more than seeing Jordan Thomas's interception is Sooners with a cause. Last night, baseball and softball teamed up with the Versus Cancer Foundation to raise money for the Children's Hospital at the OU Medical Center with a Halloween game. Players dressed up as a big baby, wild critters, and the football team for a fun night with a great cause, raising more than $16,000 in donations and $24,500 from the game itself. 11 innings and 8 home runs later, the World Series is all tied up. Last night's game was more like a ping pong match, but the Houston Astros clinched the win. The Astros had 14 hits on a total of 7 runs for an incredible game for their offense. Honestly, it was just a great game. Anytime a game goes into overtime, fans are going to be on the edge of their seats, and tomorrow's game shouldn't be any different. And Paul George had some deja vu last night as the Thunder took on his former team, the Indiana Pacers. George just had 10 points, but Russell Westbrook did what he does, secured a triple-double. The Thunder brought the Pacers under 114-96. They travel to Minnesota for their game against the Timberwolves tomorrow. And well, guys, it's Thursday. You know what that means. It's Thursday Night Football. Tonight, the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins face off. The Dolphins have won their last 3 games, whereas the Ravens have only won 1 of the last 5 games they've played. Even with those stats, ESPN's FPI is giving this game to the Ravens in a 2-1 ratio. And junior high schooler Emily Nash from Massachusetts is dominated the Central Mass Division III boys golf tournament, but left without a trophy. The same Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association that allowed Nash to play is the same one that won't let her win. She posted a 75 on the tournament, but because of state rules, her scores were only included in the team's overall but not individually. The rules not only stripped her of a trophy, but also a spot in the state tournament.
It's like super sad to see, but awesome.
Rules are rules, I guess, right?
Thank you, Shiloh.
Hey, we'll be back after this.
Say, well, welcome back to OU Nightly. And Jordan, can you show us our weather fact of the day?
Yeah, so again, the last time we saw freezing temperatures in Norman was back in March. And so March, and here we are back again. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jordan. And thank you all for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication here on OU's campus.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.